Alright, so here's what you're going to need to know in order to trick others into thinking that you've played Dark Souls 1. You ring both bells, one up, one down, collect the 4 Lord Souls, and then beat the final boss. The end. All jokes aside, we have a lot of ground to cover here, so to save myself some sanity, let's get started already. The actual game aspect of Dark Souls is almost kind of separate from the lore of the world. If you really wanted, you could go through the whole game not knowing what the heck is going on. What game am I even playing? But with all that in mind, let's see if we can't tackle this in a manner that is befitting of my eclectic humor. In the beginning, no, not really. There are basically only 2 ways that the world can be in. That is the Age of Fire and the Age of Darkness. Our story takes place towards the end of the Age of Fire, as the world begins to morph into the Age of Darkness. The real kicker here is that it's all based on keeping this fire going, which will allow the rulers and the gods of this realm to maintain their power, and like most gods, they're willing to do anything to maintain that. Actually, they're more willing to make you do anything to maintain that. AKA, toss yourself in the fire! No, really, trust me, it totally works. 100% no side effects. Here we have one of the main players, Lord Gwyn, who gives his soul to the fire in order to maintain its blaze, which may or may not have toasted the ever-living hell out of his castle and all his followers. But even with the Lord's valiant sacrifice, the fire still begins to dwindle, and people start popping out from beyond the grave. Woo! So the Lord's son Gwendolyn, together with Kingseeker Framp, shove all the undead humans into a big old prison to await the end of the world.
Oh good, you're not busy. Actually, Cassidy, I am busy.
You are one of the chosen undead, though more fashionable than the others, are given a chance to escape from the confines of your cell and be free. Free, I say! Take me home to the... Wait. Pause. Sorry, I forgot my DS. After you make it out of the keep and get a pick-me-up from Big Bird's cousin, we end up in what will be the HUD of the game, Firelink Shrine. And this is where my whole video goes down the drain because my old enemy is back. No. Well, not really. The game is very good in luring its players into where it wants you to go, without being too in your face about it. Your job as the chosen undead is to first ring 2 bells signifying that your mission has begun, letting everyone within earshot know that there's a new dog in town. The easiest bell to go to, or the one that doesn't come with a free tooth pulling, is in the undead parish. Or above it, I guess. Actually, I keep forgetting where we are. Once you've gotten rid of all that stands in your way, boom, first bell done, and you get a nice little reward if you chop the gargoyle's tail off. Well, now look at you, Mr. Big Shot, being able to ring the first bell. Well, kid, have I got some news for you. Now on to Blighttown. Blighttown, or as it's better known as the First Circle of Hell, requires you to safely descend a structure that feels like it's shrinking and every enemy is throwing you back a few thousand feet and gah! Once safely down from the Nightmare Jungle Gym, it's through a poisonous swamp and then turn it off. After you defeat the Beast of Demonetization, you're finally able to ring the second bell. Ahem. You're finally able to ring the second bell, and congrats, you've beaten the first half of the- oh no wait, actually you haven't. There's one last hurdle to go over before your butt gets into the second half of this grand mess. Sen's Fortress. Consider this the last step in your first baby steps into the fire, only to have your guts rearranged in a fast and efficient manner. Once you've scaled the tower and made it to the bonfire, you throw yourself at the final boss of this godforsaken place and get carried off by some random demons to the new area. On your way through Anor Londo, you're gonna come across one of the more interesting fights in the game, Smog and Ornstein, who are protectors of the castle, and are unfortunately in between your goal and you.
2 of us will take things from here.
Once you've unlocked Anor Londo, you're able to obtain the Punch Bowl of Destiny, aka the Lord Vessel. Now we are tasked with collecting the 4 Lord Souls that once belonged to Lord Gwyn, with 4 fights that we could do, in any order, from Puff the Magic Dragon over here to Seat the Scaleless is a dragon of sorts. Or, well, he used to be a dragon, now I'm like 60% sure he's made out of rock candy. Betrayed his own kind during Lord Gwyn's war against the dragons. Born without any scales to speak of, and being born with what gives all the dragons their cool magic powers, he steals the dragon's immortality and becomes the Lord Gwyn's dupe. Because this is definitely a man that you want as your advisor, Look at him go. Being granted his own library in return for his services to eventually lose his mind and do all sorts of funky magic, whether that be crystal people or lavender scented soap, now available for only $2.99. And if you decide to fight this big boy, it's gonna be a little rough. You'll always lose the first fight, having your butt kicked from the top to the bottom. You'll have to climb your undead tush back to fight him again, using the one surefire method. Huzzah. You know, oddly, in my case, this was the right choice of action because he's resistant to magic. You'll find in Dark Souls there's a lot of room for both uniqueness and a whole lot of stupidity. In my case, it's a little bit of both. So with 1 soul down, we have 3 more to go. The Bed of Chaos is a demon, plant, creature thing that I really don't understand. And it's the source of all the demons in this realm. This whole thing started when the Witch of Izalith tried to prolong the Age of Fire by making her own, and after a bit too much oregano into the mix, created demons and turned a small mess into a goddamn hellscape.
2 shots of vodka.
God damn it, Susan. And unlike any other boss, you have to do platforming.
Parkour!
It's a man. He's made of skeletons, who fights a lot. There's not much else I can add here. He's a little bare bone. You know, there's a lot to say about a ruler who is able to run their kingdom with kindness and fairness. This, however, is not the case. Enter the 4 kings, the leaders of Anor Londo, who ultimately ended up sending the kingdom into darkness and causing a flood. You know, they really don't have the best track record. You can't actually start this fight until you drain the ruins of Anor Londo and getting your hands on Artorias' ring. After you get those 2, feel free to throw yourself into a pit and enjoy the 4-for-1 free-for-all. Though please be fast with this one, as the longer you wait, more start popping up. What was that? See, there it is again. What the hell is that? I can't be the only one that's hearing this, right? Okay, enough. What is that? Once you plop all 4 Lord Souls into the Punch Bowl of Destiny, the doors will open up and the world forgotten is now up for grabs, and in need of God knows how much dusting. This should do. Making your way through the final stretch, you'll see what remains of the once great empire, and its protectors, aka these jerks. Bob, you've been off the clock for 2,000 years, give it a rest. Go home! And here we are at the final boss. All that you've worked for, and all that you've lost. None of it matters as you enter the room. Lord Gwyn, a once powerful god known as the Lord of Sunlight. What better battle for the chosen undead to face? But he who started it, all the... Yeah, that feels about right. Okay, so some people are a bit divided on the difficulty of this fight. Regardless, we don't have time for it, so let's move on. Ooh, interesting. Now we have some choices to make. Though everyone and their mother has been screaming at you to light this so-called fire, for once, you get to choose what you want. So leaving lets us move on to the Age of Darkness, or as it's better known, the Age of Humanity. So yeah, it turns out all the gods yelling at you about the first fire and how you have to keep it going to stop the world from ending really meant, ayo, small fry, I don't feel like giving up my position as god. Would you mind just killing yourself so I can get another hour in the pool? And we also get a legion of long boys to assist us. Quite the deal if I say so myself. I really didn't feel like playing the game again just to get the other ending, alright? So here, enjoy this artistic rendering. Okay, so we have the fire. And here's you. Take you, put you in the fire. Now it's an even bigger fire. The end. You know, the problem with these choices is that none of it matters. Deciding to link the fire just delays the inevitable, while not linking it just starts it right off the bat. But hey, in a way that's what makes the game unique. And you know, going through this game, I've learned a lot. Skills like patience, perseverance, and ultimately, no matter how hard the opponent is, if you just keep trying and trying, eventually... Mother! Hi everyone, welcome to the end credits. I'm so sorry this took a bit longer than it normally does for a video to come out. I recently got a new job, and it's been a little confusing trying to get my schedules to line up. But I'm getting used to it, and with any luck, videos will come out a lot faster than they normally do. If you like what you saw, feel free to share and subscribe. And all that other stuff YouTube tells me to tell you. Links to my Twitter, Twitch, all that great stuff is gonna be down below. Thank you to everyone for their support, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye bye!